Welcome to your Unit 8 assignment tutorial. In this video, you will be given detailed instructions on how to successfully complete your Unit 8 assignment. Let's get started. To find your Unit 8 assignment instructions and template, you will need to go to the Unit 8 overview. To get there, you can go to the left side of the course home screen and double-click on the Unit 8 tab. Once in the Unit 8 overview, you will double-click on the assignment icon. Here you will find detailed instructions about your Unit 8 assignment, as well as a link to a template to complete your ecomap. You can also find the same ecomap template in doc sharing. What is an ecomap? An ecomap is a visual graphic that illustrates the systems in a person's life that influence his or her behavior. In this assignment, you will be creating an ecomap based on Sandra Lambardino, whose story can be found on pages 641 to 643 of your text. Your text can be found on the left side of your course home screen by double-clicking on Digital Book. You'll read Sandra's story and create an ecomap based on the information provided, showing Sandra as the micro or the individual in the center circle of your ecomap. This ecomap will create a foundation to help you write your Unit 9 assignment. Let's take a look at the ecomap so that you can get an idea of what we need to do from a visual perspective. This ecomap is in a Word file. When you open it up in the Word program, you may notice that only half of the page is showing. If this occurs, it means you need to be in Web Layout View. You can find this by going to the top of your Word screen and electing the View tab. Once in the View tab, you will have an option to select Web Layout. In order to properly populate the ecomap on your screen, you need to be in Web Layout View. Once you elect Web Layout View, you're ready to orient to your ecomap. As you can see, here is the center circle that I just described that we will place Sandra in, since she is our micro. Now that Sandra's in the center circle, we'll want to focus our attention on the 6 circles surrounding her, where we will input the influences. Keep in mind that influences are subjective. In other words, what you believe is an influence on Sandra's behavior and decision-making may be different than what a classmate believes. This is about your individual insight and opinions. What we want to do is pick 6 individual influences from the story that we believe should surround Sandra on the ecomap. Once we decide what influences we want to include, we would type the name of the influence into a circle. You're also welcome to include a few words about the influence if you feel that this would be helpful for you in terms of moving forward to your Unit 9 assignment, but this is not required. Once you identify the 6 influences surrounding Sandra, we'll want to also note what the strength and type of the relationship is between the influence and Sandra. We do this from a graphic perspective by creating 2 arrows moving from the side of the ecomap in front of the influence and pointing at Sandra. This allows us to note that the influence is impacting Sandra as opposed to Sandra impacting the influence. In some ecomaps that are more advanced and developed, you will see arrows that are reciprocal in nature, meaning that the arrows point from the influence to the micro to show how the influence impacts the micro, and from the micro to the influence to show how the micro is impacting the influence. That is not required for this map. For this assignment, we only need to show 2 arrows, both coming from the influence to Sandra to indicate the strength and type of those relationships. As you can see, I moved a red or stressful arrow from the influence to Sandra. There are 2 types of type arrows on our map. One is red for stressful, and one is green for positive. We also have 2 types of arrows to indicate the strength of the relationship, black for strong and blue for weak. Let's pretend that this influence is stressful and weak. You would simply move your blue weak arrow in front of the influence and ensure that it points to Sandra. Now your arrows do not need to be perfect, but it does need to be clear that there's 2 distinct arrows, one for type, one for strength, and that the arrows are clearly pointing from the influence to Sandra. I'm going to show you now how you can rotate your arrows. As you can see, it's easy to move the arrows by clicking on them, but sometimes the arrows need to be rotated. When they need to be rotated, simply move the arrow in front of the influence and click. When you click down on the arrow, it will open a box. If you click on Format Auto Shape, it will pull up a box called Format Auto Shape. You then will find the Size tab and click. Once you're in the Size box, you'll see a line called Rotate. You're going to need to play with the degree of the rotation to get the arrow to tilt in the direction of Sandra. This doesn't need to be perfect, but again, you want it to be clear and visually appealing as is required on the grading rubric. Now keep in mind that you can move these arrows and circles around a little bit to get them where you want them to be. So now I have a strong arrow that is pointing from the influence to Sandra in the correct direction. Let's say that this influence is strong, but the type is positive. Once again, I'm going to need to rotate this arrow. I'm going to click, go down to Format Auto Shape, make sure that I have opened the Format Auto Shape box, make sure I'm in the Size label, and then I'm going to go down to Rotate and change the direction of the arrow, the tilt of the arrow. And as you can see, I'm just kind of playing with this to get it correct. I might need to do that tilt one more time to get the rotation exactly how I want it to be. And I can move these arrows and the circles to ensure that it goes exactly where I want it to go. So as you can see, I now have two arrows. I have a positive arrow and a strong arrow. Now, why would it be important to know the type and strength of a relationship on an ecomap? If I were working with a client in the field, I would want to discuss with them how we could maximize or encourage relationships that are positive and how we can minimize, weaken, or even eliminate influences that are stressful. By having this information, we can help guide clients as to goals and decisions and choices that they can make in their life to improve their life quality. Once you complete your ecomap, if you want to delete the instructions for the ecomap from the text box, you are welcome to use this space to jot down a few notes either to yourself or your instructor to offer clarity or rationale about why you picked the influences and why you picked the arrows that you did. This is not required. I simply wanted you to know that this was available to you if you wanted to use this space to create some notes that may help as a further foundation for your Unit 9 assignment. Once you complete your ecomap, you'll want to save your file in Word, and then you will go to your Dropbox, find the Unit 8 assignment box, and upload your Word file to the Unit 8 assignment box. This concludes your instructions for your Unit 8 assignment. Good luck!